live community and my friend Floyd from Project Super Being, and I want to tell you the best manifestation story that I've ever experienced or heard about today. And Floyd happens to be the one who pulled off this manifestation miracle. So what happened was, oh, and by the way, he's the best manifester I know. I have to say that because I need to tell what's true about him so that you know. And you'll see more about the kind of manifestation miracles that he pulls off over time with the blog. But this particular one is the best that I've ever witnessed. And this is how it went. We were in Texas in the car on a long road trip one day. And he had just been fired from a job unjustly that he had worked so hard at to the point of adrenal burnout completely. So he was in this rough state with no energy whatsoever, feeling extremely horrible, depleted, and like low moods because the adrenals make hormones happen, and when your adrenals are low, you're not getting the right hormones to feel good. So anyway, he felt terrible, and he was down to his last dollar too. He had no money, no place to live, practically nobody to turn to. So this was sort of a dire time, and he's really tapped in psychically, and he gets messages from the universe and stuff. And this particular morning, he suddenly says to me, I think God wants somebody to give me a bunch of money because if I have to work, I won't be able to heal from this adrenal thing. So he then proceeded to do the accurate manifestation techniques that they teach you about with the law of attraction and everything, and visualizing something as though it's already happening to the point where you really feel it and you're really living into it. So he was doing this inside of his own head. He was speaking verbally with me about it, talking as though it's already happening and stuff. And he sat there doing this for a while. So that initiated in the morning. Then when the evening came around, we stopped somewhere for coffee, and we were coming to get back in the car, and I got in the car first and got something behind me and looked forward after that and saw that he was now talking to a couple kids out in front of the car. And these were a couple teenagers who had just been talking with a group. They just looked like a normal group of teenagers hanging out. And I could tell from where I was sitting that even though I didn't know what they were talking about, I could tell it was something serious. The kid who was doing most of the talking had this really intent look about him. And he also looked like he had really good energy. He was this like good-looking kid, good energy. And I watched, wondering what they were talking about, and then I see him hand something to Floyd. It was about this big. At first I was like, is it money? No, that's too big to be money. Maybe it's a concert flyer or something like that. And then I see them hug, and Floyd comes back to the car, and he says to me, I think that kid might have given me a bunch of money right now. He said, don't count it till I get on the road because he doesn't want me to try and kiss him. So he told me the story of what had happened. Why don't you say what happened when
Yeah, okay. All right, so there were these kids. They were about 16 or 17, and they were all just hanging out outside the coffee shop. And a couple of them come over to me and just start talking to me, like asking me all these questions about where we're going and all that sort of thing. And I was a little bit like, what are you asking me this for? I wasn't sure if maybe they wanted to like possibly sell me drugs or offer me drugs or looking to buy drugs or something. Because, I'm from LA. So, nonetheless, but they're real nice, real friendly, real gregarious, and they just keep asking, eventually the dude's like, well, how you doing on money? Do you guys like have enough money to like get gas and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I think we're doing all right. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I really don't know. I might have to like hit the shelters or the missions or whatever, or, start being homeless, that sort of thing again. So, nonetheless, and he's like, well, do you believe in God? And I'm like, yes, very much. And he's like, to that, he just brightens up. He's just like, he's like, right on. And he's like, well, God told me to give this to you. And he hands me this envelope. And he said, yeah, we were supposed to give it to someone else, but somehow that had not worked out or whatever. And he said, and God told me to give this to you. And I was like, and he said, but, like she said, but, don't count it until you leave because I don't want you to kiss me. And I knew he was like giving me money on it. And I was just like, wow, what just wonderful kids. What amazing spirits. And like, this is so wild because I'd been doing all that specific manifestation work that day.
Okay, now I have to interject.
Okay.
The kicker to the whole thing is that earlier on he said, I think God wants somebody to give me some money. And this kid hands it and says, like, God told me to give you this money. Okay? That's the coolest manifestation story I ever had. And when we got on the road, he pulled out the money, and it was $600 in cash from this, like, 16, 17-year-old guy who said, God told me to give you this. He had just found us and sought him out, and there you have it. The best manifestation story I've ever heard.
Which I have to say, first, a couple of things. Whoever those kids are, I wish I could run across them again. I hope that I do, because I feel like just what beautiful, wonderful beings they are. What, like, true channels of spirit and stuff. And I just am so grateful for, basically the universe manifesting that form to reach out to me. But it really, on that day, that was it. I realized, oh my God, instant manifestation is real. And the capacity for us to create whatever we want and need is right there for us, just if we align with it the way that we're supposed to. And you can imagine the kinds of magic that has occurred since. It was a little bit herky-jerky, as a process. But man, is it really paying off at this point.
So follow his story and you'll get to see a lot more of that. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.